life, liberty, and property. These are the fundamental concepts of rights and responsibilities that shape U.S. democracy today. Rights and responsibilities is the idea that while individuals have freedoms and entitlements, they also have duties and obligations to uphold within society. This ensures that one person's rights does not infringe upon others, emphasizing that with rights comes the responsibility to act ethically and considerately. Looking back in history, we will find the word democracy originates from the Greek term demokratia, a combination of desmos meaning people and kratos meaning power. One man, however, played a significant role in the development of democratic ideals, and his name was Pericles. Pericles was born around 495 BCE into a wealthy and influential Athenian family. His father, Xanthippus, was a prominent general who played a great role in the Persian War, while his mother, Agreste, comes from the almighty noble Achaemenoid family. Being brought upon by such a prestigious family, Pericles had a privileged upbringing, allowing him to access the most advanced education of his time, which included philosophy, rhetoric, and the arts. Growing up in Athens, Pericles was exposed to the vibrant culture and political ideology of Athens. The democratic reforms initiated by Thalassius shaped his political beliefs and aspirations. He witnessed firsthand the struggles and triumphs of Athenian democracy, particularly in the context of Persian War, which fostered a strong sense of civic duty among Athens. Professor Desdemona, could you give us further details about Pericles' birth?
Well, his Alcmaeonid mother Agreste provided him with relationships of sharply diminishing political value and her family curse, a religious defilement that was occasionally used against him by his enemies. A few days before Pericles' birth, according to the Greek historian Herodotus, she was said to have dreamt that she would give birth to a lion. The symbolism, although ambiguous, is most likely to be unfavorable. That Pericles' skull was of unusual shape seemed well attested, but one can hardly speculate about the possible psychological consequences.
Pericles first made a name for himself in the city-state during his 20s as a wealthy aristocratic art patron at the Dionysus festival in 472 BC. He sponsored the play Persians by the great tragic playwright Aeschylus. Politics soon took priority over arts for Pericles. In 461 BC, he joined the reformer affiliates in organizing a vote in the popular assembly that strips all remaining power from Areopagus, the old noble council. Many historians consider that event to have marked the birth of Athenian democracy. After Affiliates was assassinated in 461 BC, Pericles emerged as Athens' foremost politician, and he would lead the popular assembly and the city until his death 3 decades later. Pericles ushered in what was considered radical democracy. This meant that ordinary Athenian citizens were paid by the states to participate in public affairs. Previously, only the wealthy could afford the time to participate in politics. Pericles approved payment for jury duty and for soldiers, sailors, and administrators. That development transformed the character of Athenian democracy and society. Lower-class Athenians called thetes could now participate as fully as citizens with full property. Pericles stated in his famous funeral oration that Athenian citizens regard a man who takes no interest in public affairs is not as a harmless but a useless character. The further political expansion of radical democracy's impact is a political concept that emphasizes the expansion of democratic ideals beyond traditional framework. It advocates for a more participatory and inclusive form of democracy, where power is decentralized and citizens, individuals, and communities to have direct influence over political, economic, and social decisions that affects their lives, and promotes grassroots engagement in local governance. This approach recognizes the value in diverse identities and experiences, aiming to create a space where marginalized voices can be heard and included in the political process. Proponents often called for initiatives like democratized workplaces, guaranteed incomes, and sustainable community practices, emphasizing a holistic approach to societal change. Overall, radical democracy is about rethinking and revitalizing democratic practices to ensure they serve all members of society equitably, fostering a deeper sense of participation and agency among citizens.
Community and civic duty. Pericles emphasized the importance of community engagement and civic responsibility. He believed that citizens should not just participate in governance, but also take active roles in their communities. His famous funeral oration highlighted the virtues of Athenian democracy, celebrating the contributions of ordinary citizens and urging them to uphold their civic duties. He encouraged the idea that participation in public life was both a privilege and a responsibility. This philosophy fostered a sense of belonging and pride among Athenians, as they engaged in discussions, debates, and decision-making processes that directly affected their lives. By promoting active civic engagement, Pericles helped to create a society where citizens felt invested in their community's success. Accomplishments and legacy. During Pericles' age, Athens flourished as a beacon of democracy, education, and culture. The city became known for its advancements in philosophy, with thinkers like Socrates emerging during this period. The arts thrived in areas of poetry, playwrights, and artists were given the support and freedom to innovate. The construction of monumental architecture, particularly the Acropolis, became a hallmark of this era. These structures not only showcased the artistic talent of its time, but also served as symbols of Athenian pride and democratic ideals. The combination of these accomplishments led to what is often referred to as the Golden Age of Athens. Influence on Athens. Pericles advocated for direct democracy, where citizens had a direct say in government affairs. He believed that a strong, educated citizenry was vital for democracy. This led to the patronage of the arts and the construction of significant monuments. He emphasized the importance of community engagement and civic responsibility. Second Peloponnesian War and the aftermath. Pericles' policies and strategies also set the stage for the Peloponnesian War, which would embroil all of Greece in the decades following his death. During the Peloponnesian War, Pericles' unwillingness to back down from the Spartans before the final declaration of war, before tensions rose, embroiled Greece and Athens into this multi-decade war, which resulted in the Greeks being forced to surrender to Sparta and lose what they had built in Pericles' time. It is theorized that Pericles carried a law to give citizenship to both sides of a parenting family. Pericles did pass a law of citizenship to both mothers and fathers, only however if they were Athenians. Also, Pericles' theory was that citizen women had fewer rights and needed a male legal guardian, but this would help to have citizenship passed down in the family.
Toward the collective good. He understood that the strength of the state relies not just on the rights of individuals, but their willingness to contribute, to engage, and to protect the very system that grants them freedom. In our modern world, Pericles' words and actions continue to challenge us. How can we exercise our rights responsibly? How can we ensure our freedom is not taken for granted, but is safeguarded through participation, respect, and mutual accountability? As we move forward, let us not forget true democracy requires both the protection of individual rights and the shared responsibility of each citizen to uphold the value that makes a society thrive. The story of Pericles is not just a chapter in history. It is an enduring lesson in the balance of power, responsibility, and rights we must protect, both for ourselves and for future generations. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time, and may the legacy of Pericles continue to inspire us as we navigate the complexity of rights and responsibility throughout the world.